that, of course, everybody is welcome to come and see this incredible event. I know we'll have visitors probably from close to 100 countries. We want them to come. We want them to celebrate. We want them to watch the game. But when the time is up, they'll have to go home. Otherwise, they'll have to talk to Secretary Noem, who I'll turn it over to now.
Hello family, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. On today's episode, we'll be concentrating on FIFA World Cup, which will be held in 3 different countries, USA, Canada and Mexico. But we'll be concentrating more on US since most of the matches will be played there. On a recent press conference of Trump administration, Vance, the Vice President of USA, boldly said visitors are allowed to come support their countries, but they will face deportation if they extend their stay going against the US visa. This has sparked controversy, majority being Americans telling people to not go to the World Cup in the US. Let's watch the following videos.
So JD Vance came out and said, don't overstay your visa to the World Cup fans. I tell y'all what, since he said that, don't come. Keep y'all money in y'all pockets. Let's see how it turns out if nobody's there. Keep y'all money in your pockets. Don't come. Because it's completely inappropriate for a so-called leader to come out and say something like that to people who are going to be what we call tourists in a country. So don't come. That's how you protest. That's how you make a point. With your dollars and using your cents. Don't come. Keep your money in your pockets. Don't come.
So what's going to happen with the World Cup now that Donald Trump pissing off every other country in the world? We're supposed to host the World Cup next year in 2026. The United States is already getting hit with travel bans. Like, do we think it's going to get better from here, or do we think it's going to get worse? Outside of the Olympics, the World Cup is the biggest international sporting event ever. Every 4 years. Every single country in the world is sending their national teams to America, who are beefed out with 60%, 70% of the world. They're mistreating illegal immigrants right now. They're also mistreating legal immigrants. People who have citizenship are getting deported. Don't even get me started on the 2028 Olympics. We might not get that either. I just want to know, do y'all think we're going to have a 2026 World Cup in America? Because me personally, that's one of my favorite events. I plan on going to at least one match. What the hell is 2026 going to look like at this rate?
During the first White House task force meeting for the 2026 World Cup, Vice President JD Vance threatened tourists coming into the United States of America. Vice President said, and I quote, "We'll have visitors from close to 100 countries. We want them to come. We want them to celebrate. We want them to watch the games. But then, when the time is up, they'll have to go home or they'll have to talk to Secretary Noem." So he is threatening to detain, deport, arrest tourists that come to see the Soccer World Cup. So if there were any questions from anyone outside of the United States whether or not you should come to see the World Cup, absolutely do not come here. It is not safe. And you certainly do not want to come and support the United States economy right now. Stay as far away from this country as you possibly can. It is not safe to be here.
So I was just on my nightly walk and I was thinking about how excited I am for the FIFA World Cup to be coming to the US next year, when it struck me that all of the issues with ICE and customs and immigration may impact the World Cup. With everything going on, it's so uncertain for these teams to be coming here to play. And it's incredibly hard to be selected to be the host city or the host country for the World Cup. And many of these cities have been planning for this event for several years. And we were selected along with Mexico and Canada, who we are now at trade wars with. And these are all the host cities, okay? They've been planning for them to come for a long time, and everyone's really looking forward to it. And it's incredibly difficult to make it to the World Cup as a team. But would you want to come if you made it? Would your players want to come?
So one more thing regarding this issue at Newark International Airport with the air traffic controllers. It's clearly highlighting that America does not have the best airports in the world, by far. Okay? I have traveled to Dubai, to Doha, to Singapore, to Tokyo. Those are the best airports in the world. And there's many more that I've not traveled to that are still better than the United States. Any airport here in the United States. If you had to ask me what's the best airport in the country compared to any one of these, it would be unfair to those countries that have the best airports out there. Okay? And for those of you that have only traveled to airports that are worse than the US, perhaps that's clouding your judgment. Perhaps that's what making you think that America is the greatest country in the world, because our airports compared to, say, of those in Latin America, yeah, they might not be good compared to the US, and you think, well, then that makes us superior. No, if you have not been to these other places, quite frankly, you have no seat in this conversation. You have to go to those airports to see just the level of sophistication that they have compared to us. But it's also this whole thing about we're hosting the largest sporting event next year. Okay, the largest sporting event in human history next year. We had 8 years to prepare, and we have dropped the ball. I understand COVID was in the way. I get that. But COVID was between two administrations. And yet we had nothing in our system of government that could have prepared us for a tournament 8 years away that we asked for, that we lobbied for. And with a year to go, we're having air traffic controllers, not enough of them, or the ones that are there walking out because the technology is shit and their pay is crap. Okay. So this is just only highlighting how this idea of American exceptionalism is just out the window, man. We are not the greatest country in the world. And the faster that we accept that, the faster we can get to work to fixing the problems that we really do have in this country, which are plenty. Maybe this World Cup could have helped us get there, but if we don't see the warning signs right now and get to work on fixing them, we are going to have a generational setback in many areas. Tourism, social class issues that we're having in this country, economy, and our system of government. I hope that all of these issues are fixed by next year, or else.
Hi, folks. So what might be described as one of the worst public relations press releases promoting an event has just taken place. So, as you know, the World Cup is coming to the United States. And both J.D. Vance and the Secretary of Transport both said in the same press conference, come to America, come and celebrate, have a good time, but when the tournament is over, you have to leave. Otherwise, you face possible deportation. And I found this incredible to listen to. Why would anybody in their right mind go to a tournament thinking that they might, if they just overstay the welcome by a couple of days, that they might end up on a plane to El Salvador?
It's comments like these that I tell people, do not come to the United States for the World Cup, because I get these on a regular basis, but this is the kind of attitude that is waiting for you in the United States if you are coming from a foreign country. They do not want you here. You are not welcomed here. The first chance that they get to tell you to leave and to speak English, they will do that. This comment in particular is one that I received because I specifically said I do not want to go to the games in the United States. I want to go to the games in Mexico. And someone said, well, I hope you can get back into the United States. And I said, if I don't, it's not really that big of a deal for me because I kind of want to go back to Mexico. I do. I've made my intentions very clear that I want to go live permanently in Mexico. However, as a family man, as a father, and as a husband, I have a family in the United States that I'm not going to abandon. They know very well that I want to go back to Mexico and live over there permanently. But that's not an option for my family at the moment. That's a big decision. That's a big move. If that means that I have to continue to live in the United States, even though it's not really what I want to do, then I will, because I won't abandon my family. Never. So many people always tell me, it's so easy. Just go, leave, don't come back. We don't want you here. But it's like, would they do that to their families? Would they just abandon their families? Is that the American way? All this to say is, consider this another warning to any visitors coming from outside of the United States who are thinking of going to the World Cup. Skip the games in the United States. Go to Canada and Mexico. You will have a lot more fun in those countries and will be much more welcomed over there than you would be in the United States. I mean, this comment says it all.
Here's a fun fact for the next World Cup. Did you know that the main host nation is now in an active trade war with the other two host nations? And that the president of that primary country wants to annex one of the other host nations? Another fun fact, the immigration officers of this country are actively arresting its own citizens and arresting natives of the land despite the fact they have proper identification. Just a fair warning, I don't think you should go to one of those three host countries. Hopefully, the other two will still be around by next summer. And one might be thinking, isn't the local community doing anything to stand up for itself against this government, against this tyranny? No, we actually have a captain and plenty of talking heads that actually enable this behavior. Also, a couple of key players as well. So if people think that sports washing in this sport has been bad this century, my goodness gracious, you are about to see the kings of sport washing commit the sport washing of all time. Get ready.
So we are about a year away from soccer's biggest tournament, the FIFA World Cup. As we know, it's going to be in the US, Mexico, and Canada, and it is expected to attract millions of people from around the world. While Trump's cabinet members are warning FIFA World Cup visitors not to overstay their visas.
And of course, everybody is welcome to come and see this incredible event. I know we'll have visitors probably from close to 100 countries. We want them to come. We want them to celebrate. We want them to watch the game. But when the time is up, they'll have to go home. Otherwise, they'll have to talk to Secretary No.
We're going to encourage everyone to go on a road trip, Mr. President, to celebrate our great country. And so if you're coming to see some soccer, not football or soccer, go on a road trip. See America. Don't overstay your visa. Don't stay too long. But
of the tournament's 104 games, 78 will be played in the U.S. By the way, that includes games at Levi Stadium in the Bay Area. Oh, and for the first time in the World Cup's 95-year history, the tournament will be expanded to 48 teams. In recent years, only 32 have participated, so that could attract more tourists.
So this is the way that we're going to welcome fans to the U.S. for the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup 2026 World Cup. We're just going to have planes closed, what? CBP, ICE, random bozos with badges, checking for documents, asking, do you know him? Like, ain't that what customs is for? Ain't that what customs is for? I have my global entry. I see that. I got my global entry. You let my ass through. I'm a citizen. But this is why I was saying for y'all, you need to have all your travel plans ready to be presented to these people. We don't even know who they are. That's why you need to travel in groups. That's why you need to let your family members know of your travel plans, exactly when you're landing, everything. Because that is now the new reality.
Boycott the Olympics. Boycott the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles, and boycott the World Cup that is coming up here in the United States even sooner than that. Today, in an article in The Atlantic, Donald Trump claims that he runs the world. Boycott. To those of you around the world who have already started boycotting American products, American holidays, our tourism is down, thank you, and continue. But also, you're going to have to now boycott the Olympics. And I love the Olympics. I live for it. I love the opening ceremony. I cry every time. These athletes have worked so hard to make sure this happens. You have to boycott. It has to be done. It has to make a statement.
Should the Olympics and the World Cup be cancelled? Both the World Cup and the Olympics are due to be hosted in the United States, And so I'm seeing more comments on social media that both of them should be cancelled because of Donald Trump's behaviour with regard to non-Americans in the country and the threats of detention, and also America's behaviour in the world, meaning that these events should be cancelled. Now, the Olympics are set to be hosted in America in the year 2028 and the World Cup in 2026. So let's put the Olympics aside for the moment, because that's a few years off. But the World Cup, let's definitely talk about that. Now, the first thing that you should know with regard to the World Cup is that it was a North American bid that won. So that is the States, Canada, and Mexico together as a joint bid won. That means that if Canada and Mexico were to decide together to pull out and say that they don't want to compete on that, that puts FIFA, the organization that runs the World Cup, in a very difficult position. Could America do it alone? Should America do it alone? I don't know about the legals of that, but it would be interesting to look into what leverage Canada and Mexico have to pull the plug on the whole shebang. I think because these things are arranged generally about 8 years before the event, it is going to be too late to organize this elsewhere, unless it's going back to a recent place as a sort of emergency move elsewhere. And could FIFA be convinced of that? Potentially. I think FIFA are an organization that's most interested in money, and so it wouldn't want to itself give up on a World Cup, even if it's forced to. I'm sure it would resist, but moving it, if there was enough pressure, possibly. I mean, here's the thing. Firstly, if Canada and Mexico themselves can't pull the plug on it, then what if America is still threatening annexation of Greenland and annexation of Canada? In which case, surely there should be solidarity from other nations in order to pull their teams from the competition. Or failing that, then the actual teams themselves and team members might say that they wish to boycott it, and certainly a lot of fans would boycott it. And also when you've got Donald Trump saying that he's going to have a new travel ban on 43 different nations at latest count, then that doesn't work with hosting an international, a global event on your turf either. So I see real problems coming up in this space. Here's another reason for me personally why it's a real problem. And that is, in 2010, there were bids for the World Cup in 2018. The winning bid went to Russia. In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea. And at that stage, the president of FIFA, Sepp Blatter, said, we've got plans for the World Cup to go ahead in Russia in 2018. We're not changing from those plans. And so the world kind of went, oh, they did bad, but yeah, let's go along with it. And Russia clearly took succor from all of that, bigged itself up, and then a few years later decided to do a full-scale invasion of Ukraine with all the war crimes that has entailed and going on since. So this notion that you can just go ahead with the World Cup when it is threatening, when the host nation is really behaving dangerously on the world scene, is something that I think we should not be repeating. So putting aside the Olympics at the moment, World Cup 2016, be really interesting to know what leverage Canada and Mexico have over that bid, and whether the world as a whole can get together and say, actually, we want it moved, or even do a deal with this. We will demand that it's moved unless Donald Trump guarantees that he won't invade Canada or Greenland. I mean, I think we're beyond the point of actually trusting Donald Trump, and so we should be looking at just axing it anyway.
One statement can spark angry reactions from all over the world, but specifically America. Having watched the videos above, it's clear enough Trump administration will undermine smooth flow of people coming to the US to support their country's plea. JD Vance, on the other hand, is trying to make America hell again. Do you agree with Americans to not go to America for the World Cup? Let me know what you think on the above statement on the comment section below, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Thank you, family. Bye.